A ridiculous Chelsea fan over here, Jason Cundy, said he'd rather top four.
Top four.
Get in the top four.
Yeah, matters. That
We've had
matters.
Richard, the Arsenal fan, come on. He says a proper football fan wants to see England win the World Cup. What about a Newcastle fan? What do you think a Newcastle fan would want?
What's the choice?
Well,
Newcastle win the league?
Newcastle win the Premier League this season,
right?
Or England win the World Cup.
There's not a Newcastle fan listening to this right now.
I disagree.
That wants England to win the World Cup over their side winning the Premier League this season. There's not, and there shouldn't be.
I disagree with that.
So their first ever Premier League last season. This time last year they were bottom, right? Yet they want England to win the World Cup, yet not them win the Premier League. I don't believe it.
Nah. What about Brighton getting in the top four? Say Brighton top four.
That's a great question. What, Champions League football next
Champions
season?
League football, guaranteed.
Down on the South Coast?
Down on the South Coast.
Bayern Munich turning up at the Amex.
Or England win the World Cup.
I think you've got to go Champions League.
Oh, come on.
Never had Champions League football.
Come on. You're talking nonsense.
I'm not.
You are.
Club over country. Club over country.
No, that's such a bad debate. What about Nottingham Forest to stay up?
Nottingham Forest stay up all day long.
No.
What it means for the club.
I'm telling you, Nottingham Forest fans would rather get relegated and see England win the World Cup.
They've been relegated.
Exactly.
They're, 30
They'd be quite
years.
happy to be relegated if England won the World Cup. I'm telling you they would.
They won't. Would you be happy if Spurs get relegated? Win the World Cup? Would you?
We're not going to get relegated, though, are we? I can't answer that question.
Okay, you stab and goal difference.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? So this is it. Spurs get thumped out the Champions League, thumped out the FA Cup, right? And you stab and goal difference. You'd rather England win the... Oh, yeah, I couldn't have that, mate.
No, I think I would.
I couldn't have that.
No, I think, come on.
It's
once every 4 years. It's something we've never seen in our lifetime. I've never seen Spurs win. I've never seen Spurs win a trophy.
Come on.
Oh, let's go to James, who's a Newcastle fan. James.
How you doing? You all right?
Right, Jimbo?
James, I mean, look, we're having this debate with the idiot Cundy that he is. I mean, look, Newcastle are flying. It looks like you might even get in the top four this season. But the scenario for you, Newcastle to win the league, or England to win the World Cup.
Newcastle to win the league is ridiculous.
There you go.
Who would go to England? Newcastle all day.
And it's not a difficult choice to make, James, is it? It's not.
It's probably the easiest choice I've ever made in my life.
James, you're a disgrace.
No, it's not.
James, you're English, right? You're an England fan.
Yeah, no, I want England to do well. I'm very glad.
You don't want them to do well because I'm offering you the World Cup.
No, but Newcastle winning the Premier League, that's huge, massive.
Yeah, but what about England winning the World Cup? That's not massive for you. It's not massive for the nation.
Yeah, but Harry Maguire's at centre-back.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've found a way. We've got Brazil in the final, James. Harry Maguire comes up in the 93rd minute and nods one home. Nick Pope comes up for a corner. Nick Pope comes up for a corner and scores. England win the World Cup.
Yeah, but Southgate's backwards. He'll play Pickford, so it will never be Nick Pope for the corner.
Do you know the most amazing thing about this conversation? Is that England winning the World Cup is actually closer to Newcastle winning a last trophy. It's true. When did Newcastle last win a major trophy?
Oh, I wish I could.
It's got to be before '66.
We won the Intertoto Cup in.
That don't count.
What do you mean? That's a trophy.
It's not a trophy. You can't be counting that. You won the mobile trophy as well in a pre-season.
The Intertoto counts.
It does not count as a major trophy. It does not, mate.
It was one of our favourite shows until you dismissed that.
No. But England have won a World Cup more recently than Newcastle won a major trophy.
Yeah, but we don't care about that.
No, that's what I'm saying. You should win the Premier League.
James, I think you're a disgrace. And I think if anyone comes on here and says that they'd rather their club finish in the top four or stay up or win the league over England winning a World Cup, I think he's a disgrace.
What about the financial ruin that that Norwich have suffered now?
Norwich?
And the Forest. Yeah, but imagine going down. Imagine what that might do to Forest. Imagine what that might do to them financially. How's England going to win the World Cup and help them? They turn up the City Ground and they're playing Wigan. Oh, don't worry.
They've been doing that for the last 14 years.
England won the World Cup. Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares?
England won the World Cup.
It's the biggest thing for the nation. It brings everyone together. The jubilation of it all. Come on.
So
you're sitting here saying you want World Cup fever. You'd rather want Chelsea get the top four.
Don't get me wrong. I want England to win it, right? But I prefer I'll be far happier if Chelsea succeed as opposed to England.
think you're an absolute
No,
disgrace.
it's true.
Let's go to Paul, who's a Dundee United fan. Right, Paul?
Hi there, guys. Just listening to the show on the way home.
Yes.
You're talking about which one player.
Yeah, one English player you'd pick to play in this World Cup squad.
Right.
Go on.
So before you comment any further on me, I am English and I am going to the World Cup with my 2 kids.
Brilliant.
But I'm 51 years old, and without a doubt, it's Gaza. Now, I heard Jason say, what about John Terry and all this, right? See these fine moments in the games, the quarter-finals, the last 16.
Mm-hmm.
England's proven the last 2 tournaments were just like one X-Factor type player away from hitting it big time, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. And that's why I would go with Gaza. The guy was a mag, but he was an absolute genius.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And for me, the best English footballer of my generation. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think if we had that, and maybe Phil Foden's got that in his lock at something, the guy that can pick up the ball in the middle of the pitch and just go slalom through 2 or 3 boys. I know what Jason's saying in relation to what we're going after. Obviously, when we get out there, keep it tight, particularly once we get through the group stages.
Yeah, but you got to back John Stones and Harry Maguire, haven't you?
Yes.
I think they're good enough. But
absolutely,
you need to win a World Cup. You need World Cup winners in terms of what they can produce in a big moment. And for me, Gascoigne would be that player for me that I'd pick.
Incredible footballer, and I think you're right. And I noticed John Stones coming out the other day saying, obviously sticking up for his mucker at the back and saying, there's other players. For me, during that period of the Nations League when we were pretty crap, if the truth be known, we'd gone games and games without scoring goals. So I'm not sure why we're focusing on the defence. And yeah, we did get pumped off of Hungary and all the rest of it, but we'll have to get back to giving Harry Kane the service and all the rest of it. And the guys from the middle of the pitch, Foden, Grealish, Sterling, whoever he picks, I just think he's for us to get to the semi-final and go any further. If he's learned anything, he should have learned from the last 2 tournaments that we'll play with a handbrake off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll go out and do it like that.
Paul, question for you. You're a Dundee United fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, never really been too close to winning the league in recent times. If I gave you a magic wand and Dundee United could win the Scottish Premier League this season, or England win the World Cup, what would you pick?
England win the World Cup every time. I was 13
Good
when
man.
we won it in 1983, and I moved from Sunderland. So I'm not Scottish.
Disgrace.
England to win the World Cup every time. It would be unbelievable for the country. We've had shit times. Excuse me. We've had rubbish times in the last few years. Pandemic and all the rest of it. We've got all the problems with energy and all this stuff just now.
Yeah.
For me, it would be an absolute unbelievable. And I live in Scotland as well, right? You've got to bear in mind how good it would be for me personally.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
All right, Paul, thanks for your call. You can keep them coming in. I've got a lot of Newcastle fans tweeting in saying, well, basically that they'd rather Newcastle win than England to win the World Cup. I think you're all a disgrace. So you can have your say. You can call in 03717 2233 44.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.